So cut about 3/4 of the way through it. As I'll just break it off there. Didn't have a lot of room to get the the pipe cutter in there. Granted, if you use like a cutoff wheel or something like that, you'd probably be a bit easier. Boom, fittings off. So you've got this piece that came attached to it as well. Slide this fitting up just a little bit. Then you're gonna stick this one on, that way the threads can grab. I'm just gonna leave it hand tight for now. All right, so being that I'm using the Skunk 2 fuel rail when I ordered the kit, it came with a fitting. So I'm gonna unscrew this. That fitting there is to run your stock fuel rail to it, or your stock fuel line. JBTuned kit came with an adapter there. Just gonna screw that in by hand right now. All right, so again, I had to bend my fuel line down a little bit. The hose is already long enough. This is how I just routed mine for the time being. I may shorten this hose up a little bit. I don't really feel the need to yet. I'm gonna have to wait. I keep jumping to the gun on things and end up having to change things later on. So nonetheless, it's pretty easy to install, and once it's there, now I'll just tighten everything up, make everything snug. So I just put it on there. You should have the only thing that's left in the kit is gonna be a long hose with 2 little sweet clamps that just slide over it. You can't really miss it. I bent my fuel return down a little bit. Just be careful that you don't get crazy and pinch it up inside this, but just kind of I pushed mine down a little bit, routed mine through the master cylinder and up to the fuel pressure regulator. On some brakes. So here's the package that I grabbed. Some ceramic brake pads. Nothing super crazy. And everything else. Rotors and such for Brembo. So after removing the strut assemblies to 14 millimeters up top, you have this one bolt down here. It's also 14. I'm gonna have to push the brake line a little bit out of the way. All right, so my bolt's just about out. Just to get some extra clearance. You could take it out now, which I should have probably done first. I'm gonna take off the brake line, which is a 14 millimeter. Get a rag ready, because you're probably gonna have some fluid. As you can see, there's mine dripping. I'm going to stick a towel inside the actual brake line itself and then one right underneath it just to catch the remainder. I'm not too worried about the 2 washers or the bolt, as I've got new ones. Alright, so now you've got the strut out. There's going to be another 14 millimeter right here, which is holding the back of your lower control arm. Be advised when you loosen this, since the strut's already loosened, this may come down a little bit. So just don't sit underneath it if it's going to come down. There it is. The sway bar connector, which is right here. Again, another 14. To actually remove this shield here, we're going to need to take that off too. There's going to be a 10 millimeter right here. And if you just kind of follow your hand in the back of the shield, there'll be another 10 millimeter right here. Move those 2 and the shield should come off. Alright, so next I'm going to remove the actual arm here, which is where the camber kit's going to replace. There's going to be one 14 millimeter bolt right there. Alright, now you can see everything's just starting to sag here. You can pull this arm up and out there. You should be able just to pull the whole entire strut assembly out. There we go. Gonna discard that. This is not necessarily the order that you need to be doing it in. I'm just taking it all entirely apart, since of replacing the majority of everything in here. So So to remove the rest of this arm for the camber kit that we're going to put in, it's going to be a 17mm, 2 of them. Not last but least, we have another 14 here at the bottom of the control arm. So here's the new Skunk 2 lower control arm that's going to go in. It's pretty much the reverse of install. There's the stock arm and Skunk 2 on the right. You notice the actual arms here are not in the same direction. Skunk 2s need to look like that. It's pretty easy. Just take a screwdriver. If you have to, put some pressure on it. There you go. And you're good. So it's going to be kind of a pain to put the lower control arm in because this is just kind of sagging. So to be honest, I'm kind of in a rush and I should have taken it out in that order. So learn from my mistakes. It's not like a deal breaker there, but so rethrow the camber kit in. It's going to go like so. This arm's going to go up. This arm's going to come down. So it's kind of heavy, but it's not anything crazy. I'm just going to use my leg for some support. Just pick it up. Snug it up a little bit. Alright, so don't forget to put these in there. They only go one way, but smaller diameter goes inside the spherical bearing. Pick it up. Alright, so next is going to be, I'm going to remove this line so I can put a stainless line in. This clip is going to be the same as I showed in the other video of how to do it in the front. I'll do it again. Except up here now there's also going to be two 12mm. It's going to be kind of hard to see. Just follow the line. There's going to be a bracket where it locks into, and right there. I've got Stoptech lines, so they've got the same little fittings there, so I can put them in the same spot. All right. See where the socket is now. There's going to be two 12mm bolts where the pins are. Just follow the caliper straight back from the pins. There's one up here and one down here. Loosen that. All right, here's the two bolts. Once they come out of the pin area, make sure your e-brake is off. If the e-brake is on, this is not just going to come off that easily. Hammer, but just going to hang that up on the sway bar a little bit there. All right, now I'm actually going to remove this part. You could have removed all this together, but it's easier for me to do it this way. It's going to be a 14mm, two of them, one up top, one on the bottom here. All right, so put those two bolts to the side, and this will come off. So here it is in your hand. You're going to have, if you look at it this way, you're going to have these little metal clips. Might be able to pry them off your hand. There's one, and there's two. I'm removing those little spring clips because the Brembo kit comes with brand new ones. They go back on the same way you just took them off. Alright, so once I just put those in, I'm going to pull the pins out. You literally just pull. Just pull out where it's extended. Whoop. Now I'm just going to wipe these off with a clean rag and apply some brake caliper grease. The kit also comes brand new screws for the rotor. If you have some anti-seize, I'd recommend putting it on there, or even some kind of just lube of any sort, just to make it easier removal in the near future, or whenever you go to remove it, that is. It's the same thing. This piece was the old one, just removed from the caliper. It's pretty self-explanatory. So the top end, it just sort of goes in. Alright, then here's the two pads. These cute little guys. You're going to take that same lube that you've been using. Put a little bit there on the corners and the top, to both sides, and then some don't really see the point of this. I just kind of smear it all over the back side of it. You're gonna do that to both calipers, or both pads. All right, so before you put it on, could have done this beforehand. This is the second time I'm doing this. Put some brake clean on it. Just something to make sure your surface is nice and clean. Did it to both sides already once. I'm just doing a second one. So once you've got your pads in, you're going to take them like so. There we go. It should just kind of slide in. They're giving me a little bit of a fight there. All right, so once the brake caliper's on, now I'm going to put the Stoptech line on. Again, pretty much the same as removal. I'm going to slide this up through there. Slightly start to tighten that down, and you will use this clamp here again that we pulled off to keep it tight. It'll sit between this little groove on there. Now, if you follow the Stoptech line, if you notice, there's going to be two little attach points. Same as your OEM, you're basically going to attach those to the OEM locations. So there's one right here. Now it's kind of hard to see. There's one right there. So that little piece, that little hole that's cut is essentially where the rubber is going to sit. It's going to look like so. Then you're going to route your second one right there. Second one's going to be routed right there. And they're going to connect your brake caliper. So when you go to install it, take your bolt with the new washer, slide it through the line, and put the other washer on the opposing side. Just snug it up. It should have fallen right in between that little catch groove there, and there she goes. She's installed. Now again, if there's too much line sticking there, if you want, you can try to pull it through. Alright, so yeah, these wheels just got painted. Basically a matte black with a matte clear coat over, so it's kind of like more of a satin look now. Falcon Zenas were just mounted to it. You can still kind of see maybe that it's got some of like the, I don't know, whatever the little jelly stuff is they help to install the tires. I am going to plastic dip them. Now, it may make no sense to some of you, but I've had it on other things and it's worked out pretty well for me. I'm basically going to do it again. This is a flat black on top of this, and then I am going to use some glossifier on top of it to give it again a satin look. It's just going to be more durable protection, and I kind of like the look of it. It is what it looks like right now, but it is what it is. So first, you're going to start by wiping all the grease off of the tire, off the actual rim itself. And then I'm going to spray this tire shine around the actual outside of the tire. That way the plastic dip won't stick to it, and I can just peel it off after the fact. Spray this turtle wax onto the actual blue towel. Could spray it right onto the tire, but it's easier for me to control this way. And just lather it on. If you just spray it all over the tire, you're going to get it all over the rim, which is not going to help the plastic dip stick. So we're going to spray the plastic dip now. We're going to do a light coat. Alright, so that's got 2 coats of the glossifier on it, and that's where I'm going to keep it for now. So now that since we sprayed the tire shine on the side here, it's been about a half hour. Should be able to just kind of rub it. So yeah, I got it kind of started peeled up here, and just peel. I'm going to be replacing this back piece here with the upgraded bushings. It's going to go front, back. It's pretty easy, just pull it off. Here you go. Some kits you'll have to reuse these sleeves. This one came with new sleeves. I'm just going to take some of this Prothane lube that it came with. I'm going to lather that up a little bit on both sides. Put it on there. There you go. Got a little excess coming off the back there. Now you may have to move it once it's up inside the car, but we'll get to that when we get up in there. There's the old one now. Here's the new one that's going to be going in. Now some of them come in 2-piece kits, which to be honest would be way easier to put in, but I got a 1-piece. So if you're looking at the shifter as if you're driving it, this is how it would be oriented if you're sitting in the driver's seat. The beveled edge, which takes this beveled washer, is going to be sitting going towards the driver's side tire. Flat side towards the transmission. And if you notice, this is not fit very well, so we're going to have to really try to get that guy in there. Just put some more of the grease up inside the hole here. I'm now going to take the actual bushing. I put some on the inside there. So I'm going to lube the hell out of it with some WD-40. Just put some even pressure down on it, and I just kept pushing it with the screwdriver, and boom, there she is. So in the center of the car, beveled piece will go, and a flat piece will go. Alright, so this weekend was a lot of pros, a lot of cons. So I was able to install suspension, or was not able to install the suspension. I ordered Skunk 2's Pro ST suspension. Put it on, put the wheels on, and then quickly realized that the car looks like it is going to be slammed when I put some load on it. So I went to one of the Facebook pages. I posted a picture of it versus the OE actual strut system. And someone else was like, oh, it's supposed to be shorter. I'm aware it's supposed to be shorter, but it was drastically shorter. Then someone else shared showing that it is indeed 3 inches lower at max ride height than your OE height, which I failed to read that, so it's a huge error on my part, but I have that suspension that I'm probably going to throw up for sale now because I've had it for a little bit of time. But I did Brembo OE rotors all the way around, pads all the way around, Skunk 2 camber kit fronts and the rears, new tie rods, new wheel bearing, new hub, new lower ball joints, passenger axles in. Now the driver's side to axle is not in because luck of the draw somehow, if you can read that, it says SH3. So this half shaft is from an OBDO CRX, which is fine, but it does not take 90 to 93 Integra axles like every other half shaft that most people in CRXs use. So I'm on the hunt for that now. The driver's side axle I ended up running through 2, thinking it was just the axle was the issue, but it ends up it's the half shaft's the issue. Skunk 2 intake manifolds installed. The JB Fuel, well, it's temp installed. I need to tighten it all the way up, but the JBTuned Fuel Tuck kit is temp installed. Just trying to see how she can fit in there, make sure I have everything. Fits nicely. Now the throttle cable is a bit long. I can either change the throttle cable, maybe get a shorter one, or keep running this one, but the bracket that comes with the intake manifold is like so. It will not fit, so I'm going to have to probably make my own little adapter that's similar as this and just mount it to maybe here, extend the arm out. We'll figure that out, but I need to make something, a bracket for it. So there's that. My other mess up for the weekend was I ordered this header solely because it was super cheap and it looked cool, and I'm going to be boosting anyway, so the price tag, I wanted to be cheap. Well, my dilemma is now fitting my Skunk 2 radiator in there with it. This likes to hit the slim fan that I've got, so I've got to work through that or buy another cheap header, and I'll hold on to that one because you never know when you may need a spare part one day or whatever the case may be, or someone wants something. So again, yeah, the rear Skunk 2's camber kit, Valix lines, or these are Stoptech stainless lines, the Brembo pads, OE rotors, and the Skunk 2 lower control arm. Again, the suspension's coming. All right, so again, I wanted to say thank you for everyone that is watching. If I am motivating anybody else to continue their build, as this is what kind of got me motivated again to build mine, I appreciate you. So that's about it. I forgot to say, I got my 205 50 15s slipstreams. Again, they were painted, and then I plastic dipped over them, and then put a glossifier on top of that. They're Zenas. Other than that, that's it for this weekend. We will see where we go next. I got a dilemma with this catch can. I got to figure out still. I don't know. This thing was super cheap on eBay. It was like 10 bucks, but it's a little big. I don't know. I might still drill that out, but I've kept it along this way just in case something comes. But again, all right, I appreciate everybody. Hope you have a good week.